see Rakan so highly prioritized in that way. But regardless, as we move back towards the draft here, we head towards game number 2 with Rogue Warriors over on the blue side. And the bans we talked about not coming through here. Diana would be available if they want to first pick back that, but things like the Lee Sin, things like the set as well, still available. So whether or not you can lean towards the Diana just yet is a different question.
Yeah, I don't think Diana's a first pickable champion at all, right? Because if you first pick that and then you give V5, Lee Sin, and Set in that circumstance, it's going to be really awkward to find good soul laners that you're able to pair with her effectively. We're going to see V5 be able to get their hands on the Lee Sin, but instantly going to pivot by getting Kepler onto the Ezreal. And it doesn't matter about the success of Diana coming out, teams still favoring the Rumble over that pick. And we're even going to get a nice mix. I do feel like this is one of the strongest trios in the game with how well it lines up of, you know, Showstopper, Facebreaker into an Equalizer with all of the Varus arrows coming out from behind to just layer more and more AoE damage. They have the setup for the Rumble. The question is if they are able to execute it this time. And 4v5, they're going to go a completely different style, bringing out the Rise in the mid lane. So we know for Uniboy, sure, he should be able to have a decent time in mid with his laning phase, assuming Rogue Warriors don't go for a counter pick on 4-5 and they just try to handshake mid by putting Set there. But it's going to once again be about those roams coming from the mid lane and probably influencing the jungle role, because that is I'd say the highlights for both of these teams.
Yeah, I do just want to quickly point out that for Uniboy, Rise is absolutely the standout pick for him this split. In the one game that V5 won, he was playing Rise. He finished against JDG 9-0-13 against JDG. So Uniboy, this is easily his best looking pick so far this split. And even he's played 2 games, he's 50-50. Obviously they only won 1 game all split, but his KDA is still 14 across those 2 games, so still quite impressive. So I'm excited to see him on that pick. The Rakan we talked about has been respect banned away. A Camille has been taken off of the board to make sure 8917 can have a reasonable time up on the top side. But we'll see what V5 are going to look for here. Could just be more hard engaged supports, maybe ban something like the Nautilus. The Leona is going to be the choice here.
Yeah, so the Nautilus still being open. I would love it if V5 just kept their Lee Sin to 5th pick as a flex. I actually expect this one to go in the hands of PZX. It is his most played champion in the jungle this split. You already have an AP mid laner, so getting something that can influence that. You have lockdown with the Rise, you have damage coming up with the Lee Sin. I really wouldn't be surprised to see V5 go with that. But now with the Nautilus taken away, we're once again getting into more of the fringe picks in the support role. You do have Enchanters still left open, as they're highlighting now. No Karma, which I think is the standout with the Ezreal. But instead, just going to opt for the Rel. They do want more hard engage coming out from that bottom lane. And they are going to go with keeping that Lee Sin as a potential flex pick to last pick and seeing what Rogue Warriors want to commit to their soul lanes.
What do you think? I was about to say, what do you think about Alistar right now? Because I feel like Hex Flash got removed. Alistar obviously fell out of the meta because you can't use Hex Flash. And then everyone kind of forgot about Alistar. I think Alistar's still fine. I'm surprised how little Alistar we actually see in the current meta.
I definitely feel like once we get past the S tier of hard engaged supports, Rel and Alistar are kind of similar to me into how they can function. I think Rel can have a lot higher impact in team fights with the way that her ult and stun can work, but Alistar being the more flexible pick in terms of being able to offer engage or disengage. And we're also going to see the Viego come out for Forge, a champion that I feel like stylistically fits his playstyle extremely well. It is his first time picking it up this split. 8917 most likely going to be on that set. You have your AP jungler, you have your melee soul laners, and I feel like Rogue Warriors composition is very stock standard. 4v5, PZX is going to take the Lee Sin like we expected, but Invincible actually bringing out an Aatrox is a little bit surprising.
Yeah, we have not seen much Aatrox in the LPL so far. Have we seen any Aatrox in the LPL?
We've had 3 games, and it's lost all of them.
Excellent. Well, that's a good sign for V5, as you know, they've not had the greatest performances. In fact, Invincible had one of those losses. He's after this game going to be chalked up as 50% of all Aatrox stats in the LPL so far, and we'll see whether he can get that champion a 25% win rate off the back of this game. But You have to go into game number 2 believing the Rogue Warriors are going to be the favorites here. I like their first 3 picks in the draft. I like the way that they've rounded things out. Obviously looking significantly better in game number 1. It does feel like, once again, a lot of weight is going to be on PZX's shoulders to get things rolling for V5 in the early game.
And I'd love to see him especially link up with Uniboy, right? Because he comes out, we have Ryze in the mid lane, you have Lee Sin in the jungle, especially once we get to level 2 point or even level 3, where you do have your E and W skilled up. You have the CC in your kit. You can set up for a Sonic Wave coming out and trying to at least get a flash out from Viego, which will make it so much harder to play, especially as you're already a melee into a ranged matchup. If you can sit him behind and take away that summoner spell, he's not going to have a lot of influence on the map, and that's when you can start setting up those 3-man roams as the side of V5, invading the enemy jungle, really punishing this Rumble, and trying to snowball the game off of that.
All right, into the game we go. We'll see if they can snowball through the Rumble. And obviously as well, Viego is one of those champions that doesn't necessarily matter how well the early game goes. If you get one of those good fights where you get the resets, you get the pop-off, Viego can just take over the game from that point. I am excited to see Kepler on this Ezreal, though. I feel like that is a pick that he... well, I mean, look, he's not had much success on any picks because he's on V5, right? They haven't been winning. He does not have good win rates. He does not have good stats. But I feel like it's a lane that you can play safe. It's a lane that you can just kind of opt out, allow Reheal to roam, allow Reheal to play through PZX, get in those solo lanes, enable Uniboy on this rise.
Yeah, definitely. And for the side of Rogue Warriors, I feel like they're feeling better about some of their early laning phases, right? Having Varus down in the bottom lane. Sure, Alistar not going to come online until level 3, but also set against Aatrox up in top side. Level 1, you are extremely strong, going for the E and then just trading with your passive and auto. So Set going to be fine in this matchup. I don't feel like it's a matchup that really has a ton of kill pressure on either side unless we see mistakes come out. Set going to provide way more utility later on, and I feel like Set overall just a better champion, right? I mean, we know that he's one of the highest presence champions in both top and mid. The most picked champion in mid, the second most picked champion in top, to where Aatrox, I mean, you do pretty good if you can find a flank or get on the back line later on, but you don't have any lanes where you really just do exceptionally well, like back when he was in the meta. And even though Forge as well is in a slightly losing matchup, with the fact of how low of a cooldown your Q's on, it's actually not too bad. You are able to sustain up and not get bullied out. You are able to at least try to neutralize the push coming out from Uniboy, and it sets up for really strong early skirmishing power for Rogue Warriors, to where with V5, you have the Lee Sin, so you might have stronger early ganks, but I don't think you have the same strong like early 3v3s, 4v4s, or 5v5s. It's all about the 2v2s and 1v1s coming out for V5.
He kind of wants the skirmishing, right? He doesn't really want full-blown team fights, unless you're doing B, of course. I think he does okay in the team fights on Lee Sin. As of a recent series, we have evidence of that fact. But yeah, generally speaking, you want the skirmishes as that Lee Sin. Oh, actually, we've got a potential all-in from Invincible. Gets a nice knock-up, but, well, Haymaker exists as an ability, so unfortunately, it's an unwinnable trade. PZX wants to bully Ice Coke once again. We've seen this before. Lyric, Ice Coke has to smite to keep himself safe. There's the song.
Oh.
No! PZX, no! How do you miss that? And now 8917 is here to stop them escaping. Forge is here too. 8917's kind of low on this one. Lee Sin dashes back out. Uniboy's there to help him out. 8917 forced out of the play. Uniboy has a lot of sustain. Gets one kill for himself. Turns around onto Forge. I'm kind of speechless, Lyric. I'm amazed that that went the way that that went.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was expected of the matchup we have, right? PZX missing the point blank Q. We see 8917 trying to put Fog of War, trying to surprise him coming around that angle, but Uniboy sees him, locks him down. He gets really low early on. I was starting to wonder if he had just given up his will to live, but yeah, in the end, V5 get the kill. Not too surprising. Oh, God, Invincible's dead, though.
Hashinshin, is that you? Invincible gets immediately railed on the TP. Is going to lose a whole bunch of minions for that. And I think top lane's over, actually, Lyric. I think that was the end of top lane.
That it probably will be, and Yeah, we see 8917 trying to play with Fog of War. You know, very interesting. But once PZX walks by, 8917 just doomed. Seems like he wasn't expecting it. The Rise able to lock him down, get all that damage down. Uniboy having confidence he can keep going forward, flashes in, knows Forge doesn't have the damage to take him down just yet. And even the other members of V5 still close enough to react if any kind of play broke out. I think you're right about top lane, though. 8917 coming to a massive lead. Doesn't exactly have anything like... He hasn't, like, backed and rebought anything coming out, so it's not going to be too massive of a difference yet. But once we see 8917 get a recall off, come back with items, Invincible's really going to be struggling in this matchup.
And I think as well, it's not just items, right? Like, it's the levels. It's the XP that Invincible wasn't getting during that, because the CSD
it's the math.
Is not... I mean, look, it's still a pretty sizable CSD. I'm not trying to downplay that, but when you factor in levels in top lane, it becomes really difficult. Ice Coke, you're in trouble, my friend. They're going to make the flash play immediately in. That Sonic Wave don't miss. PZX gets that one. And Ice Coke is just getting railed in this series of the early game. The guy can't catch a break.
And Ice Coke should know this kind of play all too well, right? He was playing with Reheal before. Him and Reheal would make these kinds of plays together. But this time, Reheal on Victory 5 saying, hey, let's abuse this guy. That's what they're doing. And, you know, I think this is actually a good sign for Rogue Warriors, because that happened in game 1 and the guy picked up an MVP. So I feel like a bit of foreshadowing there with maybe what we can expect coming out.
Yeah, exactly. He's losing on purpose. He dies to these ganks so that he can start to build a Nuggery-like reputation. He has to go 0-2 before he carries. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, we'll pencil that in, and we'll come back to it later. So far, feeling pretty good for V5. They're only 200 gold up, but hey, that's 200 more gold than they've been up for the rest of the series, so we take those.
V5, all about the cash money right now. Utilizing the ATM of Ice Coke to its fullest. PZX coming out pretty decently ahead in terms of how many camps he's clearing. And we saw last time around he was actually able to double scuttle Ice Coke on the first clear of jungle. This time, looks like Ice Coke should be able to get one for himself. Is going to hover around towards the mid lane, but Uniboy's respecting. And now we're starting to see the level 6 marks come out, right? Showstopper, we have the ultimate on Diego. And then once Ice Coke especially, I feel like that's when a lot of plays are going to come out. Uniboy is being threatened, but he is still playing very respectfully.
I think he'll be able to just clear this wave. Here's Rise. Let's just step up, but Jojo just knocks him out from under the tower. Never mind, but Jojo's been kicked under as well. So Alistair on Alistair action here.
Oh, Munch, there was no synergy.
I've got Lyric's webcam on my left screen here, and I just see him with his head in his hands on what just happened there. The equalizer missing because of the flanks of Jojo. Now we're going to play the top side. Forge is moving up. They really want to shut Invincible out of the game, but it's a good flash out from the Aatrox player, and he'll live for now.
You know, funny enough, it actually didn't matter, right? I mean, you still got the kill with the amount of damage that you had, but I don't know, just seeing it visually on screen was
this is why we wanted this series, Larry. This is why I love these series. I don't want good League of Legends. I want fun League of Legends. We don't.
Oh, we don't get more.
Uniboy's fine. He got away with it. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting series. I really hope that we get a bit of a resurgence from V5 in this game. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see a bit more of a competitive game, because this is the point at which Rogue Warriors pretty much aced V5 and then won the game in the last one. Let's see if that's going to happen again. V5
There's a big difference, though.
Herald.
There's no massive numbers advantage coming out this time around like there was in game 1, but Ice Coke is an equalizer.
Yeah, it's not the greatest equalizer we've ever seen, and Reheal looks like he's going to go down on this one. Forge grabbing the first one and turns himself into that rel. Heartbreaker to move forwards. Herald resets, but it's a pick for Rogue Warriors regardless. We're stepping forward here. Remember, 8917, he's got that pickaxe. He has a massive advantage between the two top laners. It looks like even after that first pick, Rogue Warriors still, V5, sorry, still want to contest this. Jojo is low. PZX trying to get in the back line, but he's too late to the party. Uniboy's going to get burnt down as well. PZX is suddenly completely alone. It's a good kick, but he can't find the back line. Oh, the Sonic Wave world, though. PZX against the world. He's burnt to a crisp, though, burnt to a cinder as Ice Coke cools everything down.
I mean, Ice Hope not only just picked up a ton of kills, but he also got a shutdown coming out. Reheal. Reheal is full HP. I feel like he actually can probably dissuade Ice Hope from doing this, but Forge, if Forge moves over, I feel like Rogue Warriors would probably still be able to finish this one off, but instead wanting to clear out that wave. And that fight was so weird because you see the ultimate come out from Ezreal, but you actually don't have any combat ultimates up for V5. Invincible doesn't have ultimate. PZX at this point, I think this is wrong. I actually don't think the ultimate at this point yet. I think it comes up like within this skirmish. And we know Rise's Realm was not able to do anything, so 4v5, sure, PZX able to get something in the end, but you still have a ton of damage coming out from Rogue Warriors, especially with the fact that Forge was holding on to his ultimate that whole time. They're able to separate Invincible, take him out of the fight early on, and we're starting to see why this Aatrox isn't something we see all too much in the meta. You don't get lane pile, you're not able to do too well in that straight up 1v1. Sure, you don't lose too harshly either, but it feels like a lot of champions are just very durable, very low range, tankier than you, have more base damages than you, and we're not able to see that pick thrive like it did in 2020, which sucks because I actually love watching Aatrox. Really cool mechanical plays available with his Q and E.
Very, very fun champion to watch, and like a very creative frontliner, right? A lot of frontliners are pretty boring. I feel like Aatrox has a lot of cool stuff you can do with his kit. I will say though, the diffy in the tiffy right now is pretty stark as the dragon is going to be taken here by Rogue Warriors. But you look in the inventory of Invincible, he's got himself a pickaxe and a Doran's shield and a Doran's blade. And a really missed on that. Whereas 8917, he's already got the upgraded pickaxe into the Iron Spike Whip. He has healing reduction to deal with any Aatrox sustain. Then he has boots and a sword as well. He's feeling real good in that top side for Rogue Warriors. Going to be able to get themselves a Herald and now Equalizer in the mid lane. Uniboy, I mean, he's just gone down before anything even happens. Reheals, recommitted to the play, but Ice Coke is quite happy to just dive him, and Forge will get himself an easy second kill. In comes PZX, and he's just going to go down as well, surely, as the knockups come on through. They're not going to be able to commit to the dive, but, I mean, that didn't even feel competitive for V5.
No, Rogue Warriors is surprising him with a 3-man on the Uniboy, which is a bit surprising. Uniboy has been pretty good at respecting, you know, potential ganks coming out in the mid lane when other members of Rogue Warriors aren't showing on the map, because both AD carries have just been sitting bot solo for quite a long time. No one showing. Uniboy walking up. Chocho able to utilize that Hex Flash that we mentioned earlier. Probably one of the reasons we weren't seeing Alistar last week, but this time with that enabled, Alistar able to make a ton of plays with that. They're just going to keep going in. They are able to land that CC, but PZX being so far ahead, already having the Gore Drinker, it wasn't a member who also went down in that onslaught. And it's sad to say, once again, Munchables, V5 is on PZX's shoulders. Can he pull off the mirror? Can he pull off the Doinby? That's what we're gonna call it now, you know? There's the Flame Horizon, the like Penta on Lee Sin in crazy situations is gonna be the Doinby.
That is weirdly specific, I will say. I feel like Doinby's done plenty that could be named after him at this point, more like things like the Kled mid, I guess, but
Whoa, but the fact that it's specific is why we name it that, so then it's not something, you know, like it'll feel special, right? You don't have to say it all too much, but just every now and then, like, oh god, he did the Doinby! And then, you know, you're popping off.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually think you might break Tian's heart if Doinby is the guy on that team that has a Lee Sin play named after him. I think Tian would just quit. I think that would be the end of the man's career, the poor soul. For Tian's sake, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to politely disagree and suggest we don't do that because Tian's too adorable to do it. Have you seen the Bulbasaur memes, by the way, for Tian? There's loads of memes in China that he looks like Bulbasaur. And the more you think about it, the cuter it is, honestly. There's a lot of like Tian/Bulbasaur like drawings and stuff. It's really adorable.
When I think of Tien, I think of like those like smart people in anime who like push their glasses up and it just starts to have like that glare on it. That's what I think of when I see Tien.
They're like white sheen across the glass. Yeah.
Someone who's an absolute genius, maybe plotting to take over the world or saving his school or something.
The best version of that we've seen in League of Legends though was the Rise music video when Ambition gets to the summit and Faker is there as Rise and he looks at him and he pushes up his glasses and there's the sheen and it's like, oh, chills in that moment. That's such a great music video, but My God, that moment where God, the story of Ambition, what an insane story. Like, that music video was just, I think, a perfect story to tell for that medium.
Yeah, Ambition's career, definitely a highlight. Not a player we ever got to see have a great career here in the LPL, but definitely an OG of OGs, if OGs are concerned. So Munchables, what's happening in this game? Please break it down for us.
Oh, sure. So Rogue Warriors, they're a team from China. They're playing in a tournament called the LPL, and they're searching for a fat dub because they haven't got one so far this split. And to be honest, against V5, you would hope they'd be able to get one. Since they're both at 0 wins right now, we've got an all-in at the top side. There's the Haymaker. The A9 was 7. You don't have any HP. I don't know if that was the play, sir. He's just...
He's been winning this lane the whole time. He was just chilling for so long. We didn't really get to see how the health bars devolved into the situation they were in for Invincible to be able to find the solo kill. But I mean, A917 pretty much just walked into those last few queues.
He didn't walk into it. He flashed into it.
Yeah, it was maybe thinking of the damage, trying to bait that out by getting his health bar solo, thinking, hey, you know, I hit the Haymaker, I land these abilities, it'll be enough. But in the end, you just end up giving something back to Victory 5, not only able to get the kill, but also able to open the map on the top side. I feel like Victory 5 probably would have been able to do that regardless for the fact that Rogue Warriors had shown they committed every member down towards bottom lane, and Rogue Warriors will be able to get a dragon off this. I feel like this game's not going to be as decisive as Game 1. I feel like this one can go back and forth, especially with the fact that we don't have one team just stacking dragons like we did in Game 1. Now it is going to be 1-1.
Yeah, 8-9-7. Bit of a rough one, but it is what it is. It happens to the best of us. It's definitely still about the junglers here in this one, but also that mid diff, right? Forge doing excellently on the Viego. This is the first time he's bringing the Viego out as well, up against Uniboy here, and it has to be said, Uniboy having a really rough split for himself, but I mean, I don't know what he expected with this level of health, Lyric. I'm still kind of speechless on this one.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. Just go for it. Doesn't get the center of the Haymaker either, but I don't think that would have made any difference. So, you know, first of all, we wonder how he got into this situation where he is so low, and then second, we wonder why he went for this play. Again, he must have assumed that he could have won out in this play and found the kill, but... He flashes in on 200 HP, goes for the face breaker, record scratch. You're probably wondering how I got here. And then immediately dies.
What a beautiful moment here in the LPL. And you know what? Lyric, I'm coming in today. I see Rogue Warriors V5 on the schedule. This is the kind of series that I'm looking for. I'm looking for shenanigans. I'm not looking for the highest tier of League of Legends. I'm looking for shenaniganery. And we do have a Rift Herald started up, finished off by Rogue Warriors. Another advantage for them is they've got a 2,000 gold lead now. It does feel like they are the favorite. And once again, I want to reiterate that sure, 8-9-1-7. That play may not have been good, but he won the entire laning phase. And when you look at the combo that they have with this set, with the Rumble, with the Varus, in these kind of team fights, if they can line all of that up, if they can coordinate it, that's a terrifying combination of ultimates.
Yeah, big thing is he shouldn't win out in the 1v1 anymore. Invincible having Gore Drinker, he will now be able to pick up the Stairx gauge, so shouldn't fall too far behind in trades. I still think overall, unless someone overextends ridiculously, it should be pretty negligible. But as you highlight, 8-9-1-7, obviously going to be a bigger impact when it does come to team fights. I would expect that Forge is probably sitting on a decent amount of gold as well. Actually, he probably just picked up the Stairx gauge, so going to be about half an item up over Uniboy. They're going to be able to drop this Herald, posture towards mid. This will definitely take this one. And then for the side of Rogue Warriors, I think you can pivot in towards the top side jungle, try and get some more deep vision down, and try to set up more picks with Baron spawning in a minute.
Yeah, that's one of the things that taking down a tier 1 offers that I think a lot of people underestimate is it, especially that mid tier 1, it buys you so much space in the enemy jungle. It buys you so much more freedom to move in, get deep vision. Forge pushing in this top side as well will be all 3 tier 1s taken in favor of Warriors, where it's just the 2 for the side of V5, and that mid tower surviving means it's much more difficult for V5 to get deeper vision into the jungle of Rogue Warriors. So a bit of an advantage there when it comes to the objectives. Importantly, comparatively to game 1, this time around, we have split dragons, right? We don't have Rogue Warriors just stacking every single Drake and looking towards for the second time in Infernal Soul.
I feel like the great thing for all of us, you know, us as casters, the viewers at home, whichever team wins the situation I'm going to talk about, is the fact that I'm sure this game is going to come down to one team fight where one team probably has great setup, vision is down, everything's going their way. The other team just walks in and said first team wins it out, gets a massive gold lead, and then bam, we have a huge advantage out of nowhere. It's gonna be fun. Ooh, that could have been it. Chains of
You remember the combo we talked about?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like when it doesn't hit the target. But those are the abilities that we were talking about. So there's a nice little example for everyone. This is a learning opportunity, and Rogue Warriors are well aware of that. You guys, the students in the classroom, Rogue Warriors are the teacher.
I just love the fact that what we just set up about playing off vision. Oh God, you boy.
Nice, a nice Everfrost.
Oh,
it's a nice Zhonya's. It's a nice Magnet Storm, and Uniboy survives. In they go for the turnaround of V5. Suddenly onto the scene, but I've spoken too soon. As the rest of Rogue Warriors arrives, and Invincible's going to get kicked out of the play. Kepler trying to chase this one down. Ease aggressively and gets a bit of damage in. Not going to do too much, though. Drake coming up in 30 seconds, Lyric, and everyone's on the top side of the map.
We almost saw exactly what we talked about. Munchables. Rogue Warriors had the vision set up. V5 were almost the unexpected victim walking in, and then like you hit on, everything just missed, which I feel like is, you know, the game plan was there from Rogue Warriors. They understand what they need to be doing, but sadly getting a little bit too far ahead of themselves. Then because of that failing, seems like they really wanted to force on Uniboy in the top side, still trying to abuse lack of vision. But like you said, we're going to come into the bot side, neither team really having set up on Dragon. Rogue Warriors just utilizing their topside control in this play. I love you highlighted the Everfrost. It was actually really clean coming out from Uniboy into the Magnet Storm. Buys invincible time to get here, but guess what? Rogue Warriors actually own your topside jungle. They're all able to come as well, but looks like we aren't gonna get a fight on the screen that did just come up. For some reason, V5 opting to just scale. I think it actually makes sense, right? You have the Rise, you have the Ezreal. You want to get more items under your belt and fight at a later time. You don't have to worry about the same timer that you did last time around. It is fine if Rogue Warriors get themselves another Dragon, as long as they can keep controlling vision on top side. You can even see they got control wards in their own quadrant of the jungle, realizing that Rogue Warriors are the team that currently have pressure on the map. Rogue Warriors are the team that are going to push in and need to clear those out. So I like the defensive vision line coming out from Victory 5.
Yep, that's very true. They can scale up into things, and maybe that could work for them. I will say, though, Viego does pretty okay at the scaling himself. Forge right now is 4, 0, and 4. I think that he is the player we've got to keep our eyes on in these next few fights. Sure, his ultimate isn't part of that big combo for Rogue Warriors, but that big combo can set him up to get early resets in the fight and just completely take over. And on the other side, it feels like PZX is, once again, the kind of shining light here for V5, that really a lot of the weight of the games has to be on his shoulders.
Yeah, it's kind of... I think V5 are kind of in an awkward situation with that one, because it's like, hey, you have this Lee Sin that's probably the most fed member of his team, though in terms of, like, CS, obviously the laners have caught up, and they're actually all about the same item, so... You're still looking for PZX to try to find some kind of nice angle to maybe land a kick on someone like Betty or just help burst someone out. But I feel like a lot of the setup's going to be on reheal, and then we're looking at Kepler to be able to dish out the damage for V5 to win.
Great little realm up there by Uniboy, as it doesn't actually give vision, so it's just going to be the animation. I guess he was just trying to scare them off the Baron, but they weren't even on the Baron. They were trying to do the cheeky little death brush again. Rogue Warriors, it would appear, have absolutely no interest in actually doing the Baron. They are just trying to bait. But the problem is, this is like the Rogue Warrior that cried wolf, right? When you just brush bait every time and never do the Baron, then they don't have to face check you. They are going to face check you this time, because the Chain of Corruption comes in onto Invincible, equalizes there, but it's a little late for the combo. and Invincible will walk away. Now the re-engage coming out from Chocho on the Alistair. We've got 8917 off the backline. 1v4 goes down. PZX is going to be answered on the opposite side. True Barrage doesn't hit onto Chocho. 4v4 now. That's a bit of a weird fight coming out from both teams, honestly.
So, Rogue Warriors don't want to potentially overforce by starting Baron, despite the fact that that is, that's the method that will pull Victory 5 out of their own base and out of their own jungle. But then for some reason, okay, V5 make a mistake. They try to punish Invincible, actually face checking as you were highlighting. They know not to face check. And then for some reason, Rogue Warriors, after not wanting to overforce on Baron, decide, hey, let's overforce into the enemy jungle. They get picked off. We see here, Chains of Corruption comes out. They layer down the Equalizer, luckily for Invincible. Has Sterix Gauge, has Flash, is able to get away. Chocho trying to find the flame. Oh, God. Well, yeah, that mechanically did not happen the way that he was hoping that it would happen. But still, both teams are able to get the 1-for-1. Chocho's still a player I would have drafted on my fantasy team yesterday.
Look, that was the nicest way you possibly could have said that, and I appreciate that. I appreciate how kind you were to Chocho in that sentence. We rinse and repeat, though, Mr. Lyric. We rinse and repeat. The setup begins once more as we see V5 playing towards the top side. We see Rogue Warriors clearing out some of the jungle for 8917 as he can move towards that bottom lane, but the lane is a little too pushed him right now. A little uncomfortable with that one. And maybe it's a play out of V5 here. PZX. He's in enemy territory. Nobody's seen him just yet, but there are wards if he walks into the Raptor Rush.
Yeah, I don't think V5 should be able to find anything. They're going to try to retake control over topside vision. You have a bit of wards down themselves, but I guess with Rogue Warriors having the Scuttle Crab, not really going to be able to do too much about that one. Not even going to walk in and clear the control ward out from Baron, but I feel like this game's just going to devolve into dragon stacking, which I guess shouldn't be all too surprising when, we are having our bottom teams face off. It's even if you did feel comfortable going for like Baron baits or things like that, like Rogue Warriors looked like they wanted to do, I feel like you don't have like the cushion of like wins or like with wins to where you can like realistically do that, right?
Oh my God.
You need to pick up a win here today.
Look at PZX. He's in enemy territory.
He's a madman.
He's a secret agent. He knows that he's the lead for his team right now, and he's got to make something happen. This is a desperate man that we're witnessing, and he's found a Sonic Wave, but he's not going to pull the trigger for now. Jumps out onto a ward, and hey, gets away pretty much unscathed. Bought a lot of space for this Drake. I don't know if they can just...
I'm just saying, I would have loved if he'd waited like an extra 20 seconds and it would just be like the biggest long con in history of long cons.
Yeah, it would have been amazing. The Drake goes down. It goes in favor of B5. Equalizer, not really going to be able to find its mark, and there's some honey fruit to pretty much negate everything it did. True Shot Barrage onto 3 again. I have to say, Kepler's True Shot Barrages have been pretty good this game. Multiple fights. He's hitting multiple members here. Hit one on the Herald play that hit 3 people from across the map. And now the fight for mid prio is Rogue Warriors. It feels like they're not really willing to fight this one without the Equalizer. It feels like they're trying to back away and escape. B5 buy themselves some space, buy their own entry into their own jungle once again. And we get some resets.
Munchables, I have a prediction. I'm contacting the universe.
Yeah.
And they tell me we are getting 3 games. This is going 3 games, Munchables.
I can feel it too. I can feel it. There's something in the air. There's some magic.
I feel that Rogue Warriors, weren't able to push their advantage forward. Heck, they still have an advantage, right? They still have a 2.5k gold. They're trying to take it slow, but something's off on multiple fronts. They understood the concept of like getting an enemy jungle. They took down the tier 1, instantly pivot into topside jungle. They get the vision, but V5 never having to truly walk out like you were saying. They know Rogue Warriors haven't started the Baron at any point. They are even now saving blue trinkets, so even if Rogue Warriors did, they could spot it out. And I feel like we're going to get to a point where Kepler is going to be left untouched, and he's just going to be able to put off so much damage from the backline. So for the side of Victory 5, we are really looking at this rookie AD carry that we had a lot of hope for coming into the split. It is I think he has been a bit disappointing, but also the fact that he is on Victory 5, again, it's very hard to judge these teams when you're bringing in so many new members, so many untested members from the LDL, but this is his time, Munchables. This is his moment. This is where legends are made against Rogue Warriors in an LPL regular split.
That's true. This would truly put him on the map, being able to win a singular game against Rogue Warriors. I'm ready to see it.
Top eSports couldn't do it last split. Top eSports lost to Rogue Warriors last split.
If Kepler can carry this game, he will, by default, become a better AD carry than Jackie Love. You heard it here first, folks. We've communed with the spirits, we've spoken to the stars, and we found our answer. Baron, this time around, will be actually started by Rogue Warriors. V5 should be aware of this. They have no blue trinkets. Oh no, they're all on cooldown. Oh, they have no idea. I think they did manage to get a ward in, but okay, well, all of that vision control we talked about, it leads to nothing.
I think the spirits didn't have enough faith in Rogue Warriors, or maybe had too much faith in Victory 5. I'm not quite sure which one yet, but...
I can't believe after all of that, they literally just walked
that was the
took Baron.
That was the most anticlimactic way. No.
To be honest, this is pretty much what I want out of this series. I like, as long as everyone plays everything incorrectly, then I'll be happy at the end of this one. That's really, it's quite a selfish goal, but it is.
There have been a lot of like good moments. There've just been some off moments to outset those good moments, but you know, there's still potential good moments to come. Forge 4-0 and 4. Betty hasn't died yet either. Can start grouping up, sieging down with Baron. You do have the Varus, you know, Qs that can come out. You can drop a Rumble Equalizer at any point with how short of a cooldown it's on. Forge is going to win in the 1v1 matchup against either Uniboy or Invincible. And I really like the fact that Rogue Warriors are doing the thing where they're also like hovering between lanes, right? Push out mid, go towards spot, push this in. They're going to threaten this tower. Invincible has to walk back. And they can try to sync up with mid wave again with 8907 trying to wait and push that one forward.
All right, Siege onto the inhibs now. There's Rogue Warriors with a game in hand already. Want to turn it into a series. Want to get their first series win of the split. Onto the scorecards here. Split push in the mid lane from 8917. He's on that set, so he will just rail through the towers. He can start to pressure in the mid while his team pushes bot side. Equalizer comes across. PZX kicked out of the play. His reheal gets a good Magnet Storm. There's a True Shot Barrage through, but the damage just ain't there yet. Face Breaker onto 2. And Rogue Warriors just blow this game wide open. Invincible is down. It's a double for Betty as Kepler has to flash out for his own life. And Forge, oh, he wants a bit of that tasty Ezreal. And goes for that as his main course with a bit of PZX for dessert. The Heartbreaker available to ward dash for PZX just to keep his dignity intact as they go down 2-0. And the winless Warriors are winless no more. Rogue Warriors get their first LPL victory of the split.
I gotta be honest with you, Munchables. That was a bit of a weird one. The Baron out of nowhere, here we are sitting up like building expectations of like creating picks, vision, maybe we're waiting for Baron stacking, maybe Ezreal comes back in it, maybe V5 can do this, that, and the other thing. Well, then Rogue Warriors finally decide to take Baron, and it just happens to be the time where Victory 5 have like no idea to think to check. They have blue trinkets available, they're on that side of the map. Nope, it goes down. Then at the end, okay, Baron pushed some Rogue Warriors, it looks fine. Victory 5 aren't getting caught